Hello, and welcome to the Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Each week, they bring you conversations with local Christian businesses and business owners. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. The Experience Local is brought to you each week by wonderful sponsors.
10D Tech, delivering fast, friendly, and fully managed IT services for Oregon businesses. Call 541-243-7201 and online at 10dtech.com. Join Boson Hub in supporting Kicking Cancer, empowering individuals and their families to thrive in their cancer journey through action, support, and education. kicking-cancer.org. James Reed & Associates, specializing in comprehensive coverage for nonprofits, ministries, small businesses, and personal lines of coverage across the Pacific Northwest. JamesReedAgency.com or call 503-588-8229. Independent Merchant Brokers, innovative solutions for your payment processing needs. 877-460-4747 and on the web, independentmerchantbrokers.com. Discover Oregon Real Estate, statewide experts in luxury home sales, farm, ranch, commercial, business sales, and land developments. Call 541-250-1065 and visit them online at dore.llc.
And now, your hosts for the Experience Local, Russ and Scott.
Hey, that's us.
Ta-da. Hey, welcome to the Experience Local, live with Russ and Scott, here for another amazing episode. Just so excited to be here with you every Monday, Scott. And, you know, for everybody listening out there, no matter where and when you're listening, we are so glad you're with us. We have so many options for you, and we're just glad you're here. How are you doing, Scott?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Happy President's Day on this 2026 as we get to celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country.
That's right. Amazing. It's an amazing day and a time to celebrate for sure. Mm-hmm. So, Scott, what's been going on? Did you have a good weekend?
You know, it was Valentine's weekend, and my Valentine bought tickets for us to go see the Harlem Globetrotters in their 100th year anniversary tour. And I don't know if you've seen them. I originally saw them when I was a kid. It must have been 72, 73 at Gill Coliseum. And that was back in the heyday with Meadowlark Lemon and Curly Neal and Geese and the whole crew. And then, but we got to go this weekend for the 100th anniversary. And at Foster Pavilion, there at the Baylor University campus, just a wonderful time. But the best part was that show is designed for kids. And those kids loved every bit of that show.
Oh my goodness. It is such an amazing show. And yes, I have seen it. And I love the old days back with Curly and Meadowlark and all that for sure. But they're still amazing. So fun to watch. So
they're great. We got to see Meadowlark Lemon when he was touring. So after he retired from the Globetrotters, he started another group called the Harlem All-Stars. And we got to see him in like a school gym. And I got to shake his hand and say thank you for what you've done, all the entertainment. So that was a lot of fun. Before he passed, we were able to do that as well. So good times.
Amazing. Well, it was a wonderful Valentine's weekend. Of course, I have my beautiful wife. It was amazing to always be with my Valentine, of course. And just so thankful for that. And Scott, I'm always thankful for being here with you Mondays. Just want to remind everybody that we are here 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11 a.m. Texas Standard Time, live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Then it sits on LinkedIn and YouTube forever, Facebook for 30 days. But guess what? It also converts to audio podcasts, so you can listen anytime. So who knows what day you're listening on, but we're available on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. So anytime you want to listen, you can. But guess what? There's even more. We also have the Experience Radio Network. So you may be listening on KWIL in Albany, Oregon. That is broadcasting 6 p.m. on Mondays tonight. And also on KYKN in Salem, that broadcasts 8:30 a.m. this coming Saturday. So you may be listening on one of those, and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. It's a blessing to be with you. And Scott,
and on KYKN, they broadcast on TuneIn Radio, so you can listen to it around the globe wherever you're at. And of course, Spotify, iHeartMedia, XM Sirius, Pandora, all of that stuff. But
all of it.
People want to find out, go to local.theexperience.video. That's our website. We've got links to all the programs that we have, books that we've written, YouTube, LinkedIn. Go there. And if you would like, you can contribute and support the experience. We've got a link right there you can click on that we call it the tip jar. But we do have expenses. We got to pay all the hosting and different things. So local.theexperience.video, and you want to help us out, we appreciate it.
Yeah. Yes. And that information, the direct link to that will also be in the comments today. And so take a look for that and just appreciate you all being here today. You know, Scott, like you always say, we have the most amazing guests. Mm-hmm. And today is like none other, right? You want to introduce our guest today?
Yeah, absolutely. We can bring Barrett in. Barrett Thomas is a fifth generation Wacoan. So he has been around the block, knows the ins and outs of the community. He's also running for judge here in the community. And so he's a longtime attorney, did not go to Baylor Law School. So that's a good thing, I think. I don't know. Well, it is for his family. Barrett, welcome.
Thank you, sir. My biggest question is, did my Generals pull it off this weekend?
You know, they were selling shirts for the Washington Generals with the Globetrotters saying maybe tonight.
Yeah,
and, they lost by two. They lost by two right in the last seconds. You know, it was close. It was a squeaker. They had a chance. What I really loved was, you know, they're selling the shirts, and those junior high boys that are just rebellious enough wearing Generals shirts around.
I'm just telling you. I mean, like, you know, being a Cowboy fan, it feels a little bit like the Generals lately. So
yeah,
maybe tonight.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. It's really good to talk to anybody, but especially good to talk to people that share my faith background and want to make a positive change in the community.
Well, we're blessed to have you, Barrett. Give us a little info. Who in the world is Barrett? What are you up to? Give us some info on you.
Yeah, for sure. So he was dead on. I'm a fifth generation Wacoan. I spent a little bit of time outside of Waco, but we came back. I was born and raised here. I went off to West Texas to undergrad and then to law school. And I met my wife in law school, and I prosecuted out in Abilene and then the 3 counties west of Abilene. But ultimately I came back here and started a family practice. And that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years, is just been in and out of family courtrooms, helping people navigate those scary waters of, you know, kind of a life-changing, huge event. And lately, I guess, over the last couple of years, I've really started to focus on mediation and more positive ways to deal with family law cases. And I don't know, I was praying one day, and I was thinking about it, and I felt like God called me to send the message and to run for judge and to just tell people we can do this different. It doesn't have to be an adversarial system. We don't have to walk into a courtroom and throw the meanest barbs at each other that we can, ruin the relationship, and then try to restore it afterwards. Instead, we can actually go through the whole process in a more collaborative approach. And so that's what I've been doing for the last since August. I've been going around telling the message.
So Barrett, you have had a career that's I'm going to say different than most folks. You didn't come right out of law school. do some clerking and go into law, you understand different aspects of the system, not just from the law side. And you're also a man of faith. So how does all of that cover or color what you do as an attorney and what you would do as a judge?
Well, so I did have a very varied career. And so what happened was my granddad had started an insurance company here in Waco called Jackson and Barrett Insurance. And that eventually became Insurers of Texas here. It was a very successful company. He was bought out by Tom Chase when it became Insurers of Texas. And he just wanted me to follow in his footsteps. And so when I got out of undergrad, I did my best for a whole 6 months. And it wasn't for me. In my life, I need something to be passionate about. I want to be, in the Methodist Church, we have a saying that basically says, we want to have warm hearts and active hands. And I applaud all those in the insurance industry, but I didn't feel like my hands were active enough. And I had always wanted to be a cop. And so went to the academy, became a police officer, worked in law enforcement for around 2 years. I actually ended up working in law enforcement full or part-time for 17 years. So I kind of got stuck in it, but full-time for 2 years before I went to law school. When I went to law school, it was because as I was policing, God kind of put it on my heart again. And I was like, I'm not really the traditional cop's cop. And I was in a master's program for criminal justice. I have a master's degree in criminal justice. And one of my professors suggested that my essays were more an analysis of the law than they were on proper police procedure, and that maybe I would be better suited in law school. And so I don't think God always comes down, hey, Barrett, you are supposed to do this. I think that sometimes,
as much as we'd like.
I know, right? I think God sometimes uses our interests and our passions and moves us to the places he wants us to be. So I did wind up in law school. And honestly, that's the same thing that happened 6 years later, when I felt like I was realizing that a lot of the young children that I was representing in crimes against women and children, we were doing CAT cases, and there's a lot of resources for children as long as they're in the criminal justice system. But towards the end, they've helped you get a conviction, and you put this guy behind bars, and then they have family cases that are kind of collateral consequences. They're still involved as far as, a lot of these perpetrators are family members. And so they need civil custody orders that will change that. And I was just a lot of times saying, I'm sorry, that's a civil matter. And oh my gosh, God, it'll break your heart. You've developed a relationship with these people, and now you feel like you're letting them down. So that's what I did. Jumped over to the family law side, and I've loved every bit of it. And I've loved it more, man. I am on fire right now, loving what I do, because right now what we've really shifted our focus to is how to help families bring peace, focus on solutions, restore trust. And just like with anything else, when you turn it from a negative story to a positive story, it just makes life so much better.
Well, I couldn't agree more, Barrett. That is amazing when you're really looking at the foundational issues, not just what's happening on the surface, right? You're really looking at solutions and things that are going on. And the fact that you're running for judge, I just got to say, God bless you, because getting involved in any kind of politics can be very difficult nowadays. Yes, very difficult. It is like you're throwing yourself out there. And so thank God for people like you, because that is not what I've been called to do. But, I'm so amazed by all that you've done, and that you've really kind of let God lead you through this path. Family is so important in all that you do, because you're talking about that. Talk about how your family has made a difference in your path and in your journey.
I'd love to. And it kind of goes in with what you just said, what God has led me through. I read a line yesterday that really struck me. It was, the human heart yearns for the beautiful in all ranks of life. And I just was thinking about where I've been and where I'm going. So what I would tell you is, I'm not just the president of the Hair Club for Men. I'm also a former client. I don't know if y'all are old enough to remember that.
I remember that. Yeah.
I'm a broken person. Russ, I'm a sinner. I have not always honored my family. I have not always honored my God. And I think that when I came into this, having a sense of humility and knowing that, I too am divorced, and I had to learn how to treat my ex-spouse correctly in a way that maximized the benefit for my children, even when it was hard, even when I disagreed with her, that I had to step over my fault in the breakup of that marriage. I had to accept that and live that. That allows me to go to these people that are doing the same thing and say, listen, I'm not better than you. I'm not holier than thou. I just have been down this process and I've found a better way, one that does bring about the beauty in a different rank of life, that helps us really truly nurture children through broken circumstances. So how has my family helped me? Because they're constant. We had Valentine's Day just recently. My wife is a trooper, brother. You bring your wife into a campaign. You bring your introvert wife into a campaign, and it's like throwing it into a fire pit. But she's there. She's smiling. She's putting on a good face. She's being outside the home with her family that she loves. She grounds me. She's not afraid to say, hey, I saw what so-and-so said to you. That was really nice, but I know the truth. So she'll bring you back and say, I've seen you spill the coffee. I've seen you, gripe at your kids. I've seen you do the wrong things. But she doesn't ever leave. She's always there she's my sanctuary. That's what I tell people. She's my place of peace and refuge. Yeah.
Yeah. And we are in a unique moment here. We always say we have the most remarkable people on the planet here as guests on our show. And Bear, we're grateful that you're joining us today and sharing with us kind of the insight into your family, your business. But we're at a unique moment because tomorrow the early voting starts for the judge. And you've been on the campaign. Your family has been a part of this. And as you said, it's just, it adds unique stress to that. In a couple of weeks, it's going to be over. The March election day is going to come and they're going to count. What's happening in these next 2 weeks for you? As I said, this is a unique moment. We'll never have the opportunity to kind of get your perspective as a Christian man, as a business owner, as a family man running for office.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you will. So the good news is that God told me to spread a message. He never told me I was going to win this election. Now that may come about. And if it does, I promise the voters and I promise my constituency that I will go to battle every day to protect and love kids and to try to to bring beauty from ashes. That is my promise to them. But even if I lose, most people are aware that I own both a law firm that does traditional litigation and I own a mediation firm called Christian Family Law Solutions, which was in part of the whole concept of what we could take to the court. So I'm going to be doing this either in private, sometimes getting to wear my shorts on a Tuesday, sometimes getting to leave work a little early, or I'm going to be in a suit and a robe and do it from 8:30 to 5:30. But the good news that God has given me to spread is not going to end on March 3rd. But you made me laugh because you were talking about it's coming to an end. My wife taught me how to do a widget, which I thought was kind of cool. So if I click that widget, it's not like that we're counting or anything, but there are 15 days, 12 hours, 39 minutes, and 35 seconds. Uh, and we intend to have a wonderful long hibernation. I'm a bear, right? So we're going to hibernate for a couple days. And then once the hibernation is over, we're going to go back to work. I've planned a really awesome trip with my kids for spring break to say thank you for all the dinners I missed. And we're going to get back to some normalcy. But in the next 2 weeks, we are doing some really cool things. So Christian Family Law Solutions has a couple different network chamber events where I go out and I talk about how our process works, which is learning. Russ, you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said finding the conflicts. So our process starts with talking to each person and saying not, hey, why are you here? We start with, tell me what life was like when you grew up. Because our personality, our traits, the way we approach anxiety, stress, and conflict are formed at a very young age. And we need to know what procedures in these tense moments are you taking to the relationship with your spouse? And then we go the other side. And what we're trying to avoid ultimately is the children being impacted, or really the spouses too, with negativity. So we have to address, where does the conflict come from? How do we fix the conflict? How do we, in a legal order, create hurdles to where the other party can trust you, because they know if you don't follow through with what you said, that there's accountability and consequences built into the order. And that takes a lot of time to listen and to really build in customization in these orders. But that's what I'm about, that we need to change family law. When they say standard possession order, it is fingers on a chalkboard to me. Because let me ask you, how many standard children do you know? I mean, right? Like every child is an individual. The needs of each family are different. We should, and people need to understand, the family code says the judge shall do what's in the best interest of the children. You don't start off with standard. Standard is, well, calling people out. It's the lazy fallback. It's that I don't want to take the time to understand what this family truly needs. What truly needs to happen is we build a customized order for that family. So we're talking about that at these different chamber events. And more importantly, we're getting into ACEs. So are y'all familiar with ACEs?
I am not.
Okay. So ACEs are adverse childhood experiences. The CDC was the one that really published this research. It was done by a different group originally. But what they found is, from medical background, they tried to determine a root cause for a lot of really problematic situations like early teen pregnancy, teen suicide attempts, teen drug addiction, you name it. And what they found is there were certain experiences, adverse experiences, that when they accounted to 4 or more, had huge implications on the likelihood that a child would go through that. So you can probably guess what they are. An incarcerated parent, a parent with drug or alcohol addiction, going through a separation and having only one parent in the home, or a divorce and only having one parent in the home. We could go on, but there are things that you would know. And there are results that are profound. So when we see children with 4 or more, we're talking about a 60% increase in the chance of a suicide attempt in high school. So what the CDC found is this isn't a social issue. This is a medical issue, is a medical emergency, that we bring down these adverse childhood experiences. And nowhere can we have a greater impact on that than in family courts.
Wow. Well, I love what you're doing, Barrett, and how you're getting to really the root of what's going on. You're taking time, which we all so often don't take enough time, really get to know people and to know the situation. Like you said, every family is unique. Man, it's just amazing what you're doing, and I applaud you. I wish we had hours and hours to talk on the program, but in the next couple minutes, if you could kind of wrap things up, put a little bow on, and make sure and let us know what is your gold nugget of today's conversation, really what you want people to remember about what we've talked about, and make sure and let people know how they get in touch with you. You could say voting information, whatever you want, but put it out there. So all up to you. Go for it.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, the most important thing to me is that we start moving on family law from a different perspective. I really think we could have a greater impact if I'm on the bench. But I don't think that's a limiting factor to what we can achieve. ACEs can be attacked from all sorts of places within society, from giving a kid a dinner when they don't have a meal that night to making an order in court. It can be something simple. It can be something grand. So the first thing I want people to know is this is a message that God told me to spread. And if we spread that message incorrectly, then the message doesn't get out. So it's not about being mean. It's not about saying any mean things about my opponent. It is about literally bringing love, compassion, and support to children and families. If people do want a court that is trauma-informed and focused on children and families, then I would greatly appreciate their vote. So without saying anything negative about my opponent, it is just a true fact that she has not handled family law. Her background is criminal and commercial law. And so in a court like the 170th, that for 20 years has been over 50% family law, I think that having experience in family law matters. If people want to make sure that we have a family lawyer on the bench, then they can put a yard sign out. They can go on our Facebook page and like our campaign page, or invite their friends to like the campaign page. And most importantly, they can go vote, and they can tell their friends to go vote. But whether I'm on the bench or not, I hope that if there's somebody that watches this and is facing a divorce, a separation, a child custody issue, a modification, child support issue, I want them to know there's a better way. And so they can call me at 254-777-5171, 254-777-5171, or they can email me at barrett@1c6.law. If they get confused, go read 1 Corinthians 6, where Paul tells the Corinthians, hey, why are you going to secular people to decide these important issues in your life? Why don't you go to a fellow believer? So barrett@1c6.law, and I'll help them. We have a sliding scale. Nobody should not be able to come because they can't afford it. And we will start to work through that issue and try to keep those children out of the courtroom. That's my big pitch. But I also just want to say thank you to y'all. It really is a great honor to be here. Scott and I have become very, very close. I hope that I get to meet you, Russ. I'm always glad to come up to the Northwest, especially during hop harvest.
There is some great use for that there in the Northwest, and we encourage you to take advantage and sample that. Russ is planning on coming down and visiting us here in Central Texas, so we will put you on the notification list so that we can.
And I'll stay around. I know what it does.
Yeah. And Barrett, I will say to you and anybody listening, go to russhedge.com and you can hit my connection link. I'd love to have a chat with you more at another day, because I really love what you're all about and what you're doing. But for today, I got to say it's a bummer. I got to wrap things up for the day and say it's just been a blessing. This conversation has been awesome, and everybody needs to think about what's going on in their areas that connect to families and make a difference like you. Barrett, we're going to send you out to the green room. Hang tight. We'll see you in just a minute. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Vote, vote, vote. Always, I always said the founders, when they added the amendments, should have come up with the Bill of Responsibilities. Would have been better for us all. But Russ, always great to hang out with you and Barrett today.
Yes, it is so great to be here today. And don't forget, everybody, go to local.theexperience.video for more information, or go to theexperience.video for our YouTube page. So great to have everybody here. And until next time, join us next week at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11 a.m. Texas Standard Time to be live. Have a good one. See everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next time on The Experience Local with Russ and Scott.